The Grand Celestial Hotel sparkled with 10,000 Christmas lights as I pulled my aging Toyota into the circular drive. Valets in crisp uniforms rushed to handle the arriving luxury vehicles. Mercedes, Audis, even a Bentley, while my car sat idling, waiting for someone to acknowledge it. "Miss." A young valet finally approached, his expression polite but his eyes telling a different story. "Are you here for an event or family gathering?" I said, handing him my keys. "Under the name Chin." "Oh." His tone shifted slightly. "The Chin party. They're in the grand ballroom. You can leave your vehicle here." I grabbed my small duffel bag from the trunk. Practical, weathered, nothing like the designer luggage I'd seen being unloaded from the other cars. As I walked through the massive entrance doors, I took in every detail. The 20-foot Christmas tree in the lobby, the marble floors that I'd personally selected 3 years ago, the subtle gold accents that caught the light just right. Everything was perfect. "There she is." My brother Derek's voice carried across the lobby, loud and deliberately mocking. "We were wondering if you'd actually show up, Sophie." I turned to find Derek and his wife Amanda approaching, both dressed in outfits that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Behind them, my mother Patricia stood with my younger brother Marcus, all of them radiating that particular brand of prosperity they'd perfected. "Traffic was heavy," I said simply. "From where? The budget motel you're staying at?" Derek laughed. "Because surely you're not actually staying here. This place is $1,500 a night minimum." "Derek," I said quietly. "What?" "I'm just being realistic." He gestured around the opulent lobby. "Look at this place, Sophie. It's the most exclusive hotel in the city. They host celebrities, politicians, billionaires. Not customer service representatives from tech companies." My mother air-kissed my cheek, careful not to muss her makeup. "Darling, Derek has a point. We love that you came for Christmas, but there's no shame in staying somewhere more appropriate to your budget. There's a Holiday Inn about 15 minutes away." "I have a reservation here," I said. "You do?" Marcus looked surprised. "How did you afford that?" "I manage." Amanda, my sister-in-law, laughed, a tinkling sound that probably seemed charming to most people. "Sophie, sweetie, managing doesn't cut it at the Grand Celestial. This is where Derek and I spent our honeymoon. Cost us $20,000 for 3 nights. They don't do budget rooms." "I'm aware of the pricing," I said. "Then you must have maxed out every credit card you own," Derek said. "Which is irresponsible, honestly. Mom, you should talk to her about financial planning." My mother sighed. "Sophie's always been impulsive. Remember when she turned down that stable accounting job to work in tech support? We tried to warn her." A group of hotel staff walked past and I recognized Victoria, one of my front desk managers. She caught my eye and gave a subtle nod. "Not yet, I told her earlier. Let them talk first. The Chin party has reserved the grand ballroom for the evening," Marcus said, consulting his phone. "Full catering, premium bar, the works. Derek's treating everyone. Dad would have been proud, his eldest son making the family gathering something spectacular." "I'm sure it'll be lovely," I said. "It will be. Unlike some people, I know how to celebrate in style." Derek's chest puffed out slightly. "I've invited some business associates too. Important people. The kind who expect a certain level of sophistication. Which is why we're concerned about your presentation," Amanda added, eyeing my jeans and simple sweater. "This is a formal event, Sophie. Please tell me you brought something appropriate to wear." "I brought clothes. From Target." Derek snorted. "Jesus, Sophie. This is embarrassing." "Language," my mother chided, but she was looking at me with that familiar disappointed expression. "Sophie dear, you know we love you, but you have to understand, tonight is important for Derek's business relationships. We can't have you looking like you just came from work at a call center." "Tech support," I corrected. "Not a call center." "It's the same thing, isn't it?" Marcus shrugged. "Phone work. Customer complaints. Not exactly prestigious." I watched them, these people who shared my DNA but knew almost nothing about my actual life. Derek, who'd taken over our father's import business and run it competently if not brilliantly. Marcus, who worked in middle management at a pharmaceutical company. My mother, who'd married well twice and considered that her greatest accomplishment. None of them had ever asked what I actually did in tech support. They just assumed. The reservation desk is this way, Derek said, gesturing. You should check in before the evening events start. And Sophie? Maybe see if they have a house phone you can use to call that Holiday Inn. I'm serious about this. You can't afford to be here. We approached the gleaming check-in desk where 3 staff members worked efficiently. I recognized all of them, Martin, Elena, and James. They'd been with the hotel since opening day. Reservation under Sophie Chen, I said to Elena. Her fingers flew over the keyboard and I watched her eyes widen slightly. Yes, Ms. Chen. We have you in the penthouse suite. The silence behind me was deafening. The penthouse suite? Derek's voice cracked slightly. That's the most expensive accommodation in the hotel. $5,000 per night, Amanda whispered. I looked at it for our honeymoon, but even Derek couldn't justify it. Elena maintained her professional composure. Miss Chen, your suite is ready. We've stocked it according to your preferences. Sparkling water, Earl Grey tea, fresh orchids. Is there anything else you need? That will be fine, thank you. There's been a mistake, my mother interjected. My daughter couldn't possibly afford the penthouse suite. Perhaps you've confused her with another guest. Elena glanced at me, a question in her eyes. I gave her a slight nod. No mistake, ma'am. Ms. Sophie Chen, penthouse suite, 5 nights, all amenities included. 5 nights. Marcus's voice squeaked. That's $25,000. Sophie, what have you done? My mother's hand flew to her chest. Have you stolen someone's identity? Is this fraud? I haven't stolen anything, I said calmly. Then how? Derek sputtered. Tech support doesn't pay that kind of money. Even senior positions cap out at what, $70,000 a year? You couldn't afford 1 night here, let alone 5. Maybe she has a sugar daddy, Amanda suggested, then covered her mouth. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. You absolutely should not have, I agreed, my voice still level. A distinguished man in his late 50s approached the desk. Charles Morrison, my general manager. He'd run 5-star hotels around the world before I'd recruited him 3 years ago with an offer he couldn't refuse. Good evening, he said with a warm smile. Miss Chen, wonderful to see you. I trust your drive was pleasant. It was, thank you, Charles. Charles. Derek looked between us. You're on a first-name basis with the general manager? Miss Chen is one of our most valued guests, Charles said smoothly. We're always delighted when she stays with us. But she's here every Christmas, my mother protested. You're saying she stays here every year? In the penthouse. Among other times, Charles confirmed. Miss Chen has excellent taste in accommodations. This is insane. Derek turned to me. Sophie, you need to explain what's going on. Have you been embezzling? Taking out massive loans? Because there's no legitimate way you can afford this lifestyle. Derek, I think you should lower your voice, I said quietly. You're creating a scene. I'll create whatever I want. You show up here pretending to afford luxury accommodations while the rest of us work honestly for our money. Honestly. I raised an eyebrow. You inherited Dad's business, Derek. You didn't build it. His face reddened. I've grown it. I've doubled revenue in 5 years. Have you? I kept my tone neutral. Because last I heard from Dad's old partner, revenue was actually down 18%. You've been cutting corners on quality to maintain profit margins and it's starting to show. How would you know anything about my business? I pay attention. Charles cleared his throat delicately. Perhaps this conversation would be better held in private? We do have other guests checking in. No, Derek said firmly. I want answers now. Sophie, where did you get the money for this hotel? I looked at my mother, at Marcus, at Amanda, at Derek's furious face. They were all waiting, convinced they were about to uncover some scandal, some proof that I'd failed just as spectacularly as they'd always predicted. I work for it, I said simply. Tech support doesn't pay this much. You're right. Tech support doesn't. Then what? My mother stopped. Sophie, what exactly do you do? I told you at Thanksgiving 3 years ago. You weren't interested in the details. Marcus frowned. You said you were working on a startup. Something with software. Not exactly. Then what? Derek demanded. Victoria appeared at Charles's side carrying a tablet. Excuse me, Mr. Morrison. The final numbers from the Christmas Eve gala are ready for your review. Revenue exceeded projections by 22%. Excellent. Charles glanced at the tablet, then at me. Miss Chen, would you like to review these now or after you've settled in? My mother's voice was faint. Why would Sophie review the hotel's revenue numbers? Charles looked surprised. Because she's the owner, of course. The lobby seemed to stop. Guests walking past paused. Staff members who'd been studiously ignoring our conversation turned to stare. My family stood frozen like someone had pressed pause on reality. Owner, Derek finally repeated. Owner of what? The Grand Celestial Hotel, Charles said, clearly confused by the question. Miss Chen founded and owns the entire property. Has for 3 years now. That's impossible. My mother shook her head. Sophie works in tech support. He drives a Toyota. She wears clothes from Target. I do wear clothes from Target, I confirmed. They're comfortable. But, owner. Marcus looked around the massive lobby at the Christmas decorations, at the evidence of wealth and success everywhere. This hotel must be worth. The property is valued at approximately $240 million, Charles provided helpfully. Though Miss Chen owns it outright, no mortgage. She purchased the land and financed construction through a combination of personal funds and investor capital. The hotel's been profitable since month 3 of operations. Amanda sat down heavily in one of the lobby chairs. $240 million. Sophie. My mother's voice was strange. Is this true? Yes. But, how? The startup I mentioned at Thanksgiving. Remember? You said you were too busy to hear about another one of my little projects. Derek's face had gone pale. What startup? I developed a customer relationship management platform for luxury hospitality. It integrates booking systems, guest preferences, concierge services, housekeeping and revenue management into one seamless interface. I sold it to 3 major hotel chains for $85 million 6 years ago. Silence. 6 years ago you were 26, Marcus said slowly. You were living in that tiny apartment working at the tech company. Working on my software in the evenings, I corrected. The tech support job paid my bills while I developed the platform. It took 3 years to build. $85 million, my mother whispered. After taxes and paying back my initial investors, I netted about $50 million. I used $30 million to purchase this land and build the Grand Celestial. The rest I invested in a diversified portfolio that's performed reasonably well. Victoria stepped forward, her tablet extended. Miss Chen, I hate to interrupt, but the architectural firm called about the Singapore property. They need your approval on the lobby designs by tomorrow. Singapore property? Derek's voice was strangled. We're expanding internationally, I explained. The Grand Celestial Singapore will be our second property. Construction starts in March. We're also in negotiations for locations in Paris and Tokyo. Charles smiled. Miss Chen has built a remarkable brand. The Grand Celestial isn't just a hotel, it's an experience. We've won 14 industry awards in 3 years, including Best New Luxury Hotel and Excellence in Guest Services. The waiting list for New Year's Eve is 6 months long, Victoria added. We're completely booked through next Christmas already. My mother reached for a chair, sitting down beside Amanda. Sophie. My daughter Sophie. Owns this hotel. And drives a Toyota, Derek said, still stuck on that detail. Why? Because it runs well and gets good gas mileage. Why would I need something else? Because you're rich. Being rich doesn't mean I need to be wasteful. Amanda found her voice. The Target clothes are comfortable and well made. I don't need designer labels to feel successful. But we thought. Marcus trailed off. We all thought you were struggling. Barely making it. You assumed that, I corrected gently. I never said I was struggling. You just decided that tech support meant failure. Because you never corrected us. Derek's voice rose again. You let us think you were poor. I tried to tell you about my work multiple times. You weren't interested. My mother's eyes were filling with tears. At Christmas 2 years ago, you tried to talk about your business. I said I didn't want to hear about computers at dinner. I remember. And last Easter, Marcus added slowly. You mentioned you were traveling for work. I made a joke about budget airlines. I was flying to Dubai to tour luxury hotels for research. First class, but you're right, you did make that joke. Derek sank into a chair. At Thanksgiving, when I was bragging about doubling Dad's revenue. You hadn't actually doubled it. I knew that because I'd checked the business filings. But you seemed happy believing it, so I didn't correct you. This whole time, my mother said softly, we've been patronizing you, feeling sorry for you, making little comments about your car, your clothes, your simple life. Yes. Why didn't you stop us? I tried. You didn't listen. After a while, I realized you needed to believe I was struggling. It made you feel better about your own choices. Charles's phone buzzed. He checked it and smiled. Miss Chin, the mayor's office called. They want to confirm your attendance at the New Year's charity gala. You're receiving the Entrepreneur of the Year award. The mayor knows her? Marcus's voice was weak. Miss Chin is quite prominent in the business community, Charles said. She sits on the boards of 3 nonprofits, mentors young entrepreneurs, and has donated over $10 million to local charities in the past 3 years. 10 million, Derek repeated numbly. The Grand Celestial also provides free venue space for charitable events, Victoria added. Last month, we hosted a fundraiser for children's literacy. Miss Chin personally donated matching funds that raised over $500,000. My mother was crying now quietly. We've been horrible to you. You've been dismissive, I agreed. There's a difference. Is there? Derek looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. Sophie, we've spent years making fun of your car, your clothes, your job, your life. And all that time, you were more successful than any of us. Success isn't a competition, Derek. Isn't it though? Dad always said. Dad said a lot of things. Some of them were wrong. Marcus stood up, walking closer to me. Why are you here? For Christmas, I mean. After how we've treated you, why spend the holiday with us? Because you're my family. And I kept hoping that eventually, you'd see past your assumptions and actually ask about my life. We never did, my mother said. Not once. No. A well-dressed couple approached the desk, clearly waiting to check in. Charles gestured to Elena to help them while he stayed with us. The grand ballroom, Derek said suddenly. I booked it for tonight. For our family gathering. I know. I approved the reservation. You approved. Of course you did. It's your hotel. He laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. I've been bragging about treating the family to a fancy dinner at the Grand Celestial, and it's your hotel. The ballroom looked beautiful when I toured it this morning, I said. Chef Michael has planned an excellent menu. Chef Michael, Amanda repeated. The one with the Michelin star. We were very fortunate to recruit him. My mother wiped her eyes carefully, trying not to smudge her makeup. Sophie, I don't know what to say. How to apologize for years of condescension. I supplied gently. Dismissiveness. Assumptions. All of that. You could start by asking questions instead of making assumptions. What do you want us to ask? I thought about it. Ask me about my work. My goals. Why I built this hotel. What I'm planning for the future. Ask me about my life instead of telling me what's wrong with it. Derek stood up, walking to the massive windows that overlooked the hotel's landscaped grounds. This is incredible. All of this. And we had no idea. You didn't want to know. He turned back. That's fair. That's completely fair. He took a breath. Sophie, tell me about the hotel. Why this? Why hospitality? Because I believe luxury should include warmth. Most high-end hotels are cold, impersonal. I wanted to create spaces that were both elegant and welcoming, where guests feel valued, not just processed. The software you developed, Marcus said. The CRM platform. That's what made this possible. It gave me the capital and the industry connections. But the vision was always there. Even when I was working tech support, I was studying hospitality, touring hotels, learning what worked and what didn't. Victoria approached again, this time with a small wrapped box. Miss Chin, this arrived for you. From the Singapore architectural firm. They said it's a model of the proposed lobby. I took the box, feeling its weight. Thank you, Victoria. There's more, she said quietly. The Tokyo investors called. They're ready to sign. They want to meet next week. Tokyo. My mother's voice was steadier now. You're building hotels in Tokyo? If the negotiations go well. It's a competitive market, but I think we have something unique to offer. Charles checked his watch. Miss Chen, the evening staff briefing is in 20 minutes. Did you still want to attend? I do. You brief your own staff? Derek asked. During holidays, yes. I want to thank them personally for working Christmas Eve. Most of them have families they could be with. He searched for words. That's really decent of you. They make this place work. The least I can do is acknowledge that. My mother stood, smoothing her dress. Sophie, the ballroom reservation. Tonight. Is the family still welcome? Of course. I'm looking forward to it. Even after everything we've said? You're my family, Mom. I don't agree with how you've treated me, but I don't stop loving you because of it. She crossed to me, pulling me into a real hug. Not the air kiss performance from earlier, but an actual embrace. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. So sorry. I know. I have so many questions. About the software, the hotel, your plans. Everything. We have 5 days together. Plenty of time for questions. Derek approached, his expression uncertain. Sophie, I've been a complete ass. For years. Yes, you have. Is there a way to fix this? You can start by being genuinely interested in my life instead of just shocked by my bank account. Fair. He managed a small smile. I'd like that. To actually know my sister. Marcus joined us. Me too. And Sophie? I'm sorry. For all the dismissive comments, the jokes, the assumptions. You deserved better from us. I did, I agreed. But thank you for saying it. Amanda stood awkwardly to the side. I barely know you, she admitted. I've only known you as Derek's poor sister. I'd like to change that if you're willing. I'm willing. Charles cleared his throat. Shall I have your bags sent to the penthouse suite, Miss Chen? Please. And Charles? The staff bonuses we discussed for the holiday service. Go ahead and approve them. Everyone working tonight deserves extra. Of course. That's very generous. They've earned it. As Charles walked away, Derek shook his head in amazement. You really did build something incredible here. We built something incredible, I corrected. It takes hundreds of people to make a hotel like this work. I just had the vision and the resources to start it. The vision is yours, though. Marcus looked around the lobby. This warmth you mentioned, I can feel it. This doesn't feel like other luxury hotels. Feels welcoming. That was always the goal. My mother linked her arm through mine. Will you give us a tour of the hotel? I'd like to see what my daughter created. I'd like that too. We walked through the Grand Celestial together, my family seeing it with new eyes. I showed them the ballroom where their party would be held, the restaurant where Chef Michael was preparing the evening's menu, the spa that had won 3 international awards. I introduced them to staff members who spoke warmly about working at the hotel, who clearly took pride in their work. In the business center we ran into Margaret Chen, no relation despite the same last name, who managed our corporate accounts. Miss Chen. She lit up when she saw me. I didn't know you were staying over the holidays. 5 nights, I confirmed. Margaret, this is my family. Mom, Derek, Marcus, Amanda. This is Margaret Chen, our corporate accounts manager. It's wonderful to meet you. Margaret shook everyone's hands enthusiastically. You must be so proud of what Sophie's built here. She's revolutionized boutique luxury hospitality. We're just learning about it, my mother admitted. Well, she's brilliant. The personal touch she brings to every aspect of the operation. It's why we have 98% occupancy year-round. Guests don't just stay here once. They come back again and again because they feel valued. After Margaret left, Derek said quietly, everyone here loves you. I hope they respect me. Love isn't required. They do though. You can see it in how they talk to you. About you. We took the private elevator to the penthouse suite. My suite. The doors opened directly into the foyer, revealing 5,000 square feet of elegant space. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, now sparkling with Christmas lights. A 12-foot tree stood in the corner, decorated in silver and gold. This is... Amanda trailed off. This is extraordinary. It's home when I'm here, I said simply. You stay here often? Marcus asked. Once or twice a month. I like to be on property regularly, to maintain standards and stay connected with operations. My mother walked to the windows looking out at the view. When you were little, you used to build elaborate hotels out of blocks. Do you remember? I remember. I told you to focus on practical things. Accounting. Business management. Traditional paths. You did. I was wrong. She turned to face me. You knew what you wanted even then. And I tried to talk you out of it. You wanted me to be safe. I understand that. Safe is different from small, though. I wanted you to be small. Manageable. I see that now. Derek moved to the Christmas tree, examining the ornaments. These are custom. Each one represents a milestone for the hotel. Opening day, our first award, the 100th five-star review. The staff gave them to me last Christmas. They gave you gifts? We exchange gifts every year. I have a budget set aside for staff appreciation. Of course you do. He smiled, a real smile this time. You're actually a good person, aren't you? This isn't just about money or success. You genuinely care. I try to. We've been so wrong about you. My phone buzzed, Victoria reminding me about the staff briefing. I need to go, I said. The evening briefing starts in 5 minutes. You're all welcome to rest here until dinner or explore the hotel. Whatever you prefer. Can we come to the briefing? My mother asked suddenly. I paused. It's just me thanking the staff and reviewing the evening service plan. It's not exciting. I'd like to see you work. To understand what you actually do. Me too, Derek added. If that's allowed. I considered. You'll need to stay quiet. This is a working meeting, not a show. We'll be silent, Marcus promised. The staff briefing room was packed. Over 60 employees gathered for the Christmas Eve evening shift. They stood when I entered, a courtesy I'd never asked for but they insisted on. Please sit, I said, taking my place at the front. And thank you all for being here tonight. I know many of you have families waiting at home, celebrations you're missing. Your dedication to our guests and to this hotel means everything. I introduced my family briefly, explaining their presence, then moved into the briefing. We reviewed the evening's schedule. Several holiday parties, VIP arrivals, the special Christmas Eve menu. I addressed challenges from the previous shift and recognized exceptional service. Before we begin service, I concluded, I want you to know that holiday bonuses will be in your accounts by tomorrow morning. Additionally, everyone working tonight will receive an extra day of paid vacation to be used anytime next year. You've earned it. The applause was spontaneous and warm. After the briefing, as staff filtered out to their posts, several approached to thank me personally. I saw my family watching from the side, seeing me in this context for the first time. They really do love you, my mother said as we left the room. They appreciate being valued. It's not complicated. We returned to the penthouse suite to change for dinner. I'd arranged for clothing to be provided for anyone who needed it. Turns out my family had dressed appropriately, so it wasn't necessary. The grand ballroom had been transformed into a winter wonderland. Derek's party planning had been excellent. He'd always had good taste, even if his judgment about people had been lacking. About 40 guests mingled under crystal chandeliers, champagne flowing freely. Several of Derek's business associates approached him, and I watched him struggle with how to introduce me. This is my sister, Sophie, he finally said to a man I recognized as a major real estate developer. She's in hospitality. Oh. The man smiled politely. What do you do? I own the hotel, I said simply. His expression changed completely. You're Sophie Chen? The Sophie Chen who built the Grand Celestial. That's right. I've been trying to get a meeting with you for 6 months. Your assistant keeps saying you're booked. I am booked. We're expanding internationally. I heard. Singapore, Paris, Tokyo. Ambitious. Necessary if we want to establish the brand globally. For the next hour, I found myself surrounded by Derek's associates, all of them wanting to discuss business, partnerships, opportunities. My brother watched from the side, his expression complex. Finally, he pulled me aside. This is your world, isn't it? These people, they respect you. They want to work with you. Some of them, yes. And I brought them here to impress them with a party at a fancy hotel. Your hotel. It's a lovely party, Derek. You should be proud. I'm not, though. I'm embarrassed. All this time I've been the successful older brother and you've been quietly building an empire. It's not an empire. It's a business. A business worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The value isn't the point. Then what is? I thought about it. Creating something meaningful. Building spaces where people feel valued and welcomed. Proving that luxury and warmth aren't mutually exclusive. You've done that. Everyone can see it. I hope so. Dinner was spectacular. Chef Michael had outdone himself. As we ate, my family asked questions. Real questions about my work, my plans, my vision. They listened to my answers, actually listened instead of waiting for their turn to talk. The Singapore property, my mother said over dessert. When does construction start? March if all the permits clear. We've partnered with a local firm that understands the market. Will you be there often? During the first year, probably monthly visits. Once operations stabilize, quarterly reviews should suffice. That's a lot of travel. It's necessary. I can't build a culture of attentiveness if I'm not willing to be present myself. Marcus leaned forward. The staff clearly adores you. How do you maintain that across multiple properties? Regular communication. Fair compensation. Treating people like the professionals they are. It's not complicated. Most businesses just don't bother. And the expansion plans? Derek asked. Where do you see the brand in 5 years? 5 properties across 4 continents. Each one adapted to its location but maintaining our core values of warmth and excellence. That's incredible, Amanda said softly. After dinner, as guests mingled, the mayor arrived. I'd invited her personally. She found me quickly, pulling me into a warm hug. Sophie, the hotel looks magnificent. Thank you for coming, Mayor Richardson. I wouldn't miss it. And congratulations again on the Entrepreneur Award. Well deserved. My family watched this interaction with wide eyes. Mayor, I said, this is my family. Mom, Derek, Marcus, Amanda. This is Mayor Richardson. The famous family. The mayor shook everyone's hands. Sophie talks about you all the time. She does. My mother looked surprised. Of course. She's very proud of Derek's work in import-export, Marcus's pharmaceutical career. And Mrs. Williams, she mentioned you were thinking of retiring soon. Yes, possibly. Sophie thought you might consider consulting for the Grand Celestial. She says you have excellent business instincts. My mother's eyes found mine. She said that. I did, I confirmed. If you're interested. I'd be honored. As the evening wound down, my family gathered on the penthouse suite's terrace, looking out over the city. This has been the strangest Christmas Eve of my life, Marcus said. Finding out your sister is secretly rich? Derek suggested. Not secretly, I corrected. Just privately. There's a difference. Finding out we've been idiots, Derek amended. Complete idiots who dismissed you for years. You weren't idiots. You were just wrong. Generously put. My mother slipped her arm through mine. Sophie, thank you. For what? For not giving up on us. For inviting us here, showing us your life, giving us a chance to really see you. You're my family. That doesn't change even when we frustrate each other. We've done more than frustrate you, Derek said. We've been cruel, dismissive, condescending. Yes. And you still invited us to your hotel for Christmas. I still love you, Derek. All of you. Even when you drive me crazy. How do we fix this? Marcus asked. How do we move forward from here? By being honest. By asking instead of assuming. By treating each other with respect instead of judgment. We can do that, my mother said firmly. We will do that. And Sophie. Derek's voice was serious. I want to learn from you. About business, about leadership, about building something meaningful. Will you teach me? If you're genuinely interested. I am. I've been coasting on Dad's legacy for years. I want to actually build something of my own. Then I'll help you. As midnight approached, we stood together watching the city lights, a family that had been broken by assumptions and pride, now tentatively rebuilding on a foundation of honesty. Next Christmas, my mother said, I want to host. To my house. Just family. No business associates, no parties. Just us talking honestly. I'd like that, I said. Me too, Derek added. And Sophie? I promise. No more jokes about your car. I don't mind jokes about my car. Just ask me about the rest of my life too. Deal. The grand celestial sparkled below us, every window glowing warm against the winter night. My hotel. My vision. My success. But standing with my family, beginning to truly connect for the first time in years, I realized success had many definitions. The hotel was one kind of achievement. This moment, this honest connection with people I loved, was another entirely. And as Christmas Day began, I was grateful for both.